Hello, PVI friends. So Adam, Anna, Michael, and I were talking earlier last week, and we're talking a little bit about the artificial intelligence tools that it appears that you folks are playing around with, which is awesome. And I wanted to offer in this video and a couple more some suggestions as you're thinking about some of the tools that we shared, and also consideration for some additional tools. But first of all, let's kind of review briefly what we talked about a little over a month ago. And I'm going to bring up that presentation. I want to make sure we're all on the same page. So first of all, elements here that I want to emphasize that are critical is the fact that AI continues to grow. There's changes in AI tools. And of course, as we emphasized earlier, AI tools are changing every day. And of course, there's also AI tools that have been around with us for years. And so for that consideration is the fact that, okay, so what are we looking for? And then from that, what AI tool would be most appropriate? And let me give you an example here of kind of what we talked about last time. And for some of those, we took a look at DFID. And for DFID, as an illustration, can't emphasize this enough, so let me go ahead and escape out of this real quick and show you what I'm talking about with DFID. So DFID, when we talked about it back in February, what we did was we took a look at a resource, and so I just simply grabbed this resource, so I'll simply copy it again, right? And we simply took a look at, you could type in anything you want here, right? You could type in, put in an article, you can put in a video, you can take in any text or excerpt, and yes, this is a trial version, and the trial version on my end has expired, so then of course you have to pay for it. So we're going to have a variation of what I shared last time, but I'm going to put in that URL. So I'm going to put in that URL for several different reasons. So I'm putting in that URL because what I want to do is I want to simplify the process that I shared earlier, and that is I have notes. And I have notes, I have a presentation, I have information, and I want to simplify it. I want to differentiate it. And we can use words, but I want to make it more universal. I want to offer in terms of supports. In a way we're accommodating. We're doing a level of brief modification. The library of words I could use, extend, but the skinny of it is I'm trying to save myself some time in content that I've provided. And content, I'm using social studies, but to me it would be relevant to science, theology, language arts. It's not going to be relevant to math. This is not a math experience because to me, I'm trying to take these broad concepts, I'm trying to summarize them, and I'm trying to then offer a variety of tools to help them better understand these big ideas. So with that said, first of all, I'm going to use it from a language perspective. So I'm going to go from this idea of here's the content, but I want to provide it as a 5th grade level because I know a number of my learners are reading at a lower grade level. And you may say, well, no, Pvi Ai, I want to do it at a 7th or 8th grade level. Fine. Okay, to me, I don't see why 5th grade level, considering the majority of our students that graduate from the United States high schools are reading at the 4th grade level or below. But anyways, we'll start there. So we're going to go ahead and generate some resources. And remember, the resources that we're generating are going to be more language-based for processing perspective. They're going to be more content-based in terms of the big ideas. They're going to be more for understanding and comprehension. They're going to be things that I could utilize for subsequent note-taking, et cetera, et cetera. So first of all, remember, what DFID does is DFID offers me the visuals. And so conceptually, it's organized things from a visual manner. And so some of these I can quickly take and say, yes, this is what I'm trying to visualize. These are the big ideas. These are essential ideas I'm trying to visualize. Or maybe it's this is what I'm trying to visualize. So in a way, they've given me, it's kind of like I'm doing a Google image search for the basics of the U.S. Constitution. And all these images appear. Well, DFID's helped me with that. And by the way, if you haven't done that, I do that somewhat regularly when I'm trying to represent, like, for example, I'm teaching about the individual's education program or plan process, the IEP. This is a great visualization of that walks them through from the beginning all the way to the end. It offers in days. It offers in who needs to be involved. It's a one-screen visual that helps represent a number of steps in fairly complex information. All right, so that's the first element of that. Now, the second element of that is offering an adapted at the reading level of 5th grade, the general concepts captured in that video. Great, so now I've summarized, I've differentiated it, I've simplified it. I've offered the big ideas in terms of a summary here, right? So I've offered that as well. I've offered key vocabulary terms. So you can see how this aligns to science, theology, social studies, English language arts to a degree, but it wouldn't necessarily be relevant to math. So of course, I have to look at what I'm trying to do, what's the purpose of the tool, And then, of course, what is it going to provide as an outcome? So to use DFID in a manner that's not aligned with this type of outcome, to use DFID in respect to math comprehension, I'm not sure how it fits. Now, you may say, well, Sean, I'm not seeing a theology connection. Well, again, if I'm trying to take a passage in the Bible, or I'm taking an encyclical, I'm trying to take another concept there, and I'm trying to visualize that, I'm trying to break it down into big ideas, I'm trying to get down some of the essential elements, that's where the text, again, I could grab the text instead of a YouTube clip, and this is where DFID will take that text, pull out the big ideas, pull out the essential elements, pull out the keywords, pull out the summary ideas, etc., etc. And then, of course, it breaks it into multiple choice, short answer, open-ended prompts. Now, remember, it also then gives me different types of materials. And so in this instance, I can click here, and it'll take me to a variety of different resources that I will create. Now, if you recall from my presentation, my example here was the fact that I found and created a resource here that broke it down into a Google slide presentation. And what are the three branches of the United States government is what it created. And so it took text like here, and let's go ahead to the slideshow here, but it took resources like the legislative term. It provided the definition, but using a sentence and an image to represent it. That's a practice that it created without me having to spend any time. It created a practice guide for students to potentially use. If I see this as relevant, it's up to me if I see this as relevant. And remember, what it did was it created slide by slide by slide ways to potentially consider the information that it gleaned from that video as a time saver for me, as a way to say, hey, now use this in your study guide perspective, or use this to break things down further, or use this to get representation of the idea as a formative assessment for me to see whether or not I actually understand it. So those are some of the concepts that DFID offers. So DFID in this instance, the AI, and I'm not trying to offer a DFID overview so much as I'm trying to say, here's a tool, it's AI, it does cool things, and the cool things it does is it takes content, video presentation, text from readings, excerpts from an essay, whatever it may be, main idea, key essential points, it then differentiates in a variety of different ways, just like that, right? All I have to do is give the passage and then select the reading level, and it goes to work after that. And then for me, I need to make suggestions. And remember, in terms of DFID, I can then, I'll go back here for just a second. As a reminder, I can edit these, I can copy these, I can add in questions, I can add in prompts, so I can edit from there. I can take it over into another document, so a lot of different flexibility for me. But again, my thrust here is it wasn't intended for math. No, it's not at all. It's intended for language arts, foreign language. Maybe, possibly, but I'm not seeing a lot in respect to language. Well, Sean, at the beginning, it actually offers an English translation. It does. And so possibly it can take that English, bring it into Spanish, and then differentiate from there. I'm not a foreign language teacher. I'm not sure if this program and the AI does the language translation as effectively as others. So I'm going to look for an AI that actually leads in that direction. But then again, I might play with this as a Spanish teacher and take a look and go, oh no, it translates quite well. And then it does do the big ideas. It does do the essential elements. It does do review questions, et cetera, et cetera. So this is one of several I'm going to share to try to reinforce the fact that AI, first of all, it's not all AI is equal. It's not. AI has a purpose. What's the purpose and the intent of the tool? And then utilizing that tool and maximizing that opportunity is the intent of what I was trying to share back in February and what I'm trying to refer again today. So what I'll do is, in addition to this video, is offer some additional videos that offer some clarity about some of the additional tools, as well as just some general resources that are AI specific that could assist in respect to areas like math, theology, and other areas. So again, add one last reminder, what's your purpose, what's your intent, look at the tool, does it do that, and then of course apply it in that manner. Hope this helps.